Yu-Gi-Oh! The Sky Striker Archetype by TGS Anime.
The Sky Striker Archetype. Once, in a time of peace, there was an ordinary girl who lived an ordinary life. She was content, as long as those around her were happy. This girl's name was Ray. However, everything would change on one fateful day. This was the beginning of war. A neighboring nation had come to claim Ray's homeland for its own. Ray, seeing the once happy smiles of her friends and family slip away into sadness as the escalating war continued, motivated her to make a decision. She joined the military. On her first mission, it became immediately apparent Ray was no ordinary girl. She was a prodigy in every aspect of combat, possessing talents that may never have manifested had the call for duty not transpired. After distinguishing herself countless times on the battlefield, the head of the military's technological division approached her with an offer. If she would accept, she would have the chance to turn the tide of the battle.
What was Sky Striker based off of? It wasn't Infinite Stratos, right? Which one's Infinite Stratos? Give me a second. I need to not search that on stream if it's the one I think it is. Yeah, no. That's definitely not that one. No, it's based. I thought there was roots in another anime or manga. It's really cool though. Like the concept, this whole archetype is great.
He offered her the Sky Striker technology. Now adorned in a neural-linked combat suit known as the Zero Suit, she could call upon any of the Sky Striker weaponry mid-battle. Its arsenal was vast, and each weapon housed its own unique purpose.
How to scare a Yu-Gi-Oh player. Just show them an image of Sky Striker Widowmaker. Or sorry, Widow Anchor. Ask somebody that plays Sky Striker. Somebody that has the deck right over there. Good God. It can get so silly.
If she needed fast traversal, she could summon herself an aerial device, allowing the ability of flight and speed fast enough to avoid missiles. When on the ground in combat, she could summon an anchor that could be used to disarm her enemies, able to neutralize them non-lethally if she so wishes. Or even when outnumbered, Ray can launch nanomachines able to project a duplicate of herself in order to make an escape. Close to 200 different Sky Striker equipments were developed. Ray was also given a sword that not only acted as a weapon, but was also an ignition key for her trump card, the Sky Striker Ace Mecha Suits. Available anywhere on the battlefield, if passed through with both the Zero Suit and the Sky Striker sword in hand, Ray could transform into one of 4 variant forms.
I always wonder what Multiroll is. I've never actually delved into the lore, so this is actually rather fascinating for me to look at. Like, I've played this deck. I actually got this deck off my buddy, and then I've built it up, right? Like, continued it. I don't have Triple Tactics Thrust. Triple Tactics Thrust does not quite meet my card investment cost-benefits analysis, especially as close as we are to a potential reprint. I mean, and then again, we've had SP Little Knight for a while now, right? That might be due for a reprint. But then again, Konami might say, nah, go buy your SP Little Knight for like 90 USD. So, don't really know. However, it's such an interesting deck.
Each specializing in a different area of combat. When a need for annihilation was required, the Kagari suit could be called. With its blazing wings made from 8 separate Sky Striker swords, it is able to unleash 8-fold the output of Ray's Zero Suit form, making it capable of annihilating any enemy forces that stand in her way. When close quarter combat is required, the Kaina suit can be called. This suit specializes in short to mid-range combat, especially suited for one-on-one combat. When a need for defense is required, the Shizuku suit can be called. This suit creates a barrier that can absorb all forms of attack, making it perfect for protecting retreating allies, or to tank an otherwise unstoppable attack. And finally, when precision is of the utmost importance, the Hayate suit can be summoned. This suit specializes in long-range strikes, being armed with an enormous rail cannon. The precision energy blast this gun fires can take out the enemy's main forces with pinpoint accuracy. Each of these modes also possesses an ultimate technique. To use them requires Ray to remove the built-in limiters in the suits. These
it's funny because limiter removal, you see what he did there? It's funny.
Limiters are there to prevent the suits from overloading and killing Rei.
I know that the red is Kagari's Afterburner, Shizuku's Jamming Waves. I don't know Hayate and Kaina's, though. I don't see Zeke here as well, but I think we're going to get into that because I think that's on the Rose side of the Sky Striker archetype.
So to use these requires a great risk. Rei enters the battlefield via the Hercules base, which acts as the hub for all of this technology. Rei, now on the battlefield, was able to push the enemy back further and further. It seemed as if victory was assured. However, on the eve of the final mission, Rei was shocked by the appearance of a young girl on the battlefield. It seemed that the enemy, in a last-ditch effort, had reverse-engineered the Sky Striker technology. They gave this power to their best soldier, a girl named Rose. Rei and Rose would do battle. The fight was even at first. However, as Rei began to take the upper hand, Rose would summon her own Sky Striker. It manifested as a huge suit of armor, known as Zeke. The battle was fierce. Zeke and Rose's overwhelming might forced Rei into a do-or-die situation. Rei, using the last of her strength, summoned her Kagari form and unlocked every single one of its safeties and limiters. With this almighty power, Rei charged forward at blistering speed towards Rose. As she did, in a split second, Rei could sense that Rose was not truly an instrument of war. Deep down, she could sense sorrow in her heart. Rose was just like her, a girl that wished for peace. Ultimately, when the dust settled, Rei would emerge victorious. However, something stirred inside of her, and as she stood, holding the unconscious Rose in her arms, that's when a new enemy appeared.
Man, I didn't know any of this lore, actually. Looked at all the funny equip cards and stuff. I knew that it was anime reference. Like, wow. What a banger of a story. I kind of like it. Isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! A kid's game? Bro, you have to understand, right? Like, we had some censorships even back in, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters days because the West was just not ready for certain things, okay? Taya, what was it, Taya in the Panic episode? That got censored. Like, really hard. That got censored. Man. Yu-Gi-Oh! is a great series.
Released in the 2018 pack Dark Saviors, this archetype is all about maneuvering around your opponent's plays, and then summoning out one of your Sky Striker Link monsters at a time to deal with whatever situation is at hand.
Isn't it like Kagari first, Hayate for when you actually need to do damage, and you end on Shizuku? I mean, it might have changed now.
The unique gimmick of this deck is that the Sky Striker spells cannot be used while there is a monster in the main monster zone. However, as a result of this limitation, they are granted powerful effects. But if you have 3 or more spells in the graveyard when you use them, the effect is amplified. This is quite reminiscent of how Rei would overclock her mech suits to produce greater results. For instance,
so, one funny tech that I used to use. Do you know Toon Table of Contents searches out itself? That is a very easy way, especially when we had... Engage was at 1. I was running Toon Table of Contents ×3 and 1 Toon Cyber Dragon. Toon Table of Contents, response, grab Toon Table of Contents, activate Toon Table of Contents, grab Toon Table of Contents, activate Toon Table of Contents, grab Cyber... Grab Cyber Toon Dragon. Hey, I got my 3. Let's go. Dude, it's so stupid. I love it.
The Sky Striker Mecha Eagle Booster. Its effect is target one face-up monster on the field. That target is unaffected by card effects this turn, except its own. If you have 3 or more spells in the graveyard, it also cannot be destroyed by battle this turn.
Ironically, lists I see don't actually run it. You have to run 1 Hornet Drones, though. Hornet Drones is limited for good reason.
Sky Striker Mecha Hornet Drones. Its effect, special summon 1 Sky Striker Ace token in defense. If you have 3 or more spells in the graveyard, its attack is increased by 1500. Sky Striker Mecha Shark Cannon. Target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it. But if you have 3 or more spells in the grave, you can instead special summon that monster to your field.
I see that as a 1 to 2 of Widow Anchor. is a solid 3 of. Like, every build runs 3.
Sky Striker Mecha Widow Anchor. Target one face-up effect monster on the field. Negate that face-up monster's effects until the end of the turn. If you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you can take control of that monster until the end of the turn instead. Note that you can see the serial numbers of these devices in the card artwork.
It's really cool.
This showcases how many different variations of weapons Ray has access to. In fact, it would be a good time to bring up the one wielding all these weapons, Sky Striker Ace Ray. Her effect is Quick Effect. You contribute this card, special summon one Sky Striker Ace monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone. While this card is in your graveyard, if a face-up Sky Striker Ace Link monster you control is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card. This monster's naming is actually quite interesting because it reveals a lot about the archetype. The Sky Striker Ace portion of her name is taken from the Japanese. The kanji used for her name is for Flash, Sword, Princess. When written out, the kanji used is Sen, To, and Ki. The word translates to combat aircraft. Ray's name is a reference to the Mitsubishi A6M Racing, which...
Yeah, I had no idea. I had absolutely zero idea about this. Someone is going to be watching this go, oh my god, I know exactly what that is. And I'm like, I have zero idea what this is. Unless this is in fact the Japanese Zero that I've heard so much about in the Fat Electrician videos. Like, that plane. Like, wow.
Was a Japanese aircraft fighter. However, you'll notice its nickname was the Zero Fighter. Rose is an anagram for Zero, and its code name was Zeke. So with all this revealed, Ray and Rose are both connected to this singular aircraft fighter.
Okay, so that's gotta be the one then from all the history videos I've been watching on Fat Electrician from that era. Really interesting to see that, man. Mitsubishi, what happened? You're just making cars now. You're getting back to making aircraft.
The idea with her effect is that she is used to immediately link summon into one of her varying forms. And if one of those forms is destroyed, then Ray will be resummoned back from the graveyard. Ray actually has a unique token card made of her. It shows the drones from Sky Striker Mecha Hornet drones projecting a hologram of her to distract the enemy. And what's interesting about that is that the technology that is being used is very reminiscent of the quantum decoy technology used by the Mecha Phantom Beast archetype. So this begs the question, are these two archetypes linked? I wonder. By brandishing her sword, she can summon one of her mech forms. We see this in display in Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. Its effect, add one Sky Striker card from your deck to your hand, except Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. Then, if you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you can draw 1 card.
I'm sorry. Do you mean to say that this 1 grabs a card, but 2 just allows you to just draw a card? Man, why isn't this banned? Oh, it's been limited for a hot minute. It's now up to 3 again. I don't know why. Bro, dude, I look at lists, so you know what people are running? They're like running like... What is it? They're running triple Raigeki, double Lightning Storm, Snatch Steel... triple Engage, triple Widow Anchor, triple Tactics Thrust, and I'm just like, good god, dude. This deck is so much value.
We see the final confrontation between Ray and Rose in the artwork of Sky Striker Mobilize Linkage. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except for Sky Striker Ace monsters. Also, send one other card you control to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon one Sky Striker Ace monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone, and if you have at least 1 light and 1 dark Sky Striker Ace monster on your field or in your graveyard, the summoned monster gains 1000 attack. Ironically...
Sorry, not Snatch Steel. No, you're right. God, what's the other one? No, is it Snatch Steel? Hold up. Sorry, give me a second. No, I'm thinking of Delinquent Duo. No, Delinquent Duo is banned. No, Snatch Steel's at 1. At least in this format. Yeah. Because for some godforsaken reason, Snatch Steel's at 1.
Rose is a light monster, whereas Ray is dark. However, Rose's Sky Striker form is dark. So maybe in the future, Ray's final Sky Striker form could be light. When pushed to her limits, Ray is able to upgrade herself into one of 4 forms. Her defense form, Sky Striker Ace Shizuku, requiring 1 non-water Sky Striker Ace monster. Monsters your opponent controls lose...
Before we get into that, we're gonna just look at this ban list, right? This current ban list as of reacting to this video. Chicken game was forbidden. Snatch Steal. Limited. Limited. Change of Heart. Konami, please.
100 attack and defense for each spell in your graveyard. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card was special summoned this turn, you can add one Sky Striker spell from your deck to your hand with a name different from the cards in your graveyard. This suit's
which if you don't have an Engage, you can grab Engage.
serial number is X002, meaning it is the second suit developed. This is interesting, as there is no X001 suit. I wonder if this is more confirmation that we'll get a light variant of Sky Striker Ray in the future,
Probably.
which will be model number X001. As you can see, this monster's ability to weaken opponent's monsters is a reference to this form's defensive nature, absorbing attacks and weakening them to the point of uselessness. Each of these upgraded forms possesses a limit removal ability. In the case of this card, it is Sky Striker Maneuver Jamming Waves. Target one spell or trap on the field, destroy it. Then, if you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you can destroy one monster on the field.
It's kind of cool because it's select back row removal, but the added effect is just another bonus of cool. Now you just pop a monster.
By focusing all of the processing power of her mech into her defensive shield, she makes it capable of blocking even a nuclear level of explosive.
Nice.
However, of course, by doing this, she puts herself at great risk, as all of her defensive capabilities will be lost after the attack is over. Moving away from defense, her next form we have is her Annihilation form. Sky Striker Ace Kagari. Requires one non-fire Sky Striker Ace monster. If this card is special summoned, you can target one Sky Striker spell in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Gains 100 attack for each spell in your graveyard. Serial number X003. This form is all about power, as it gets stronger throughout the course of battle. By removing all the limiters on this form, Ray can transform into her all-or-nothing state.
This is the alternate art. I actually really like it. I actually don't own the alternate art. It's really cool, though.
Which pretty coolly has its own alternate artwork. Then, by putting all of this power into a single attack, she can do her ultimate maneuver, Sky Striker Maneuver Afterburners. If you control no monsters in your main monster zone, target one face-up monster on the field, destroy it. Then, if you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you can destroy one spell or trap on the field. With this move, anything and everything in her path is destroyed. In the case of an actual duel, it's destroying a monster and some back row. However, the kickback to using this ability is almost as deadly to Ray herself.
It is the inverse of Jamming Waves, where Jamming Waves pops the spell card and then the monster. It pops the monster and then the spell card, right?
Moving on next to the precision-focused form, Sky Striker Ace Hayate. Requires one non-wins Sky Striker Ace monster. This card can attack directly. After damage calculation, if this card battled, you can send one Sky Striker card from your deck to the graveyard. Serial number X004. This card is able to bypass all monsters on the field and strike at the heart of the enemy from range. In this case, with a direct attack. By removing all limiters, this form can achieve Sky Striker Maneuver Vector Blast.
Oh, that's Vector Blast. Okay.
If you control no monsters in your main monster zone, each player sends the top 2 cards of their deck to the graveyard. Then, if you send at least one card to the grave and have 3 or more spells in your grave, you can shuffle all your opponent's monsters from the extra monster zone into the deck.
I don't think I've ever used it. I don't think I've seen a list use this. If it has, it's used one.
While not as deadly as her Annihilation form, by channeling all the power into the rail cannon, if ambushed, this long-distance weapon can be transformed into a wide-range explosion. Finally, when close-quarter combat is required, we have the form Sky Striker Ace Kaina. Requires one non-Earth Sky Striker Ace monster. If this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It cannot attack until the end of your opponent's turn. Each time you activate a Sky Striker spell card or its effect, gain 100 life points immediately after this card or effect resolves.
Right.
Its serial number is X005. This card can disable an opponent's monster for a full turn. You could think about this as the monster just getting, knocked out.
Yeah.
And when its limiters are removed, it can create the Sky Striker Maneuver Scissor Cross.
I've never used this. I don't think I've seen a single list use this.
Control no monsters in your main monster zone. Target one level 4 Sky Striker Ace monster in your graveyard. Add it to your hand, or if you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you can special summon it instead. With this boost, each arm of the device now moves on its own. The risk to this technique is that it takes an incredible amount of neural input, creating intense mental stress. Sky Striker Ace Rose.
It's really funny to watch the price point. So we had, what was it? The Ray and Rose alt arts come out. I think were they QCRs or not? Let me double check on that really quick. Ray. Sorry, no, not you. Yeah. So Sky Striker Ace Ray, current running from Battles of Terminal, Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge. 130, 140 a copy, right? And then you look at Rose. QCR is sitting at $58. Well, it's because you use 3. It's like 3 Ray, 1 Rose, 2 Rose if you're really feeling spicy. But man, dude, Rose gets the short end of the stick.
If a Sky Striker Ace monster is normal or special summoned, except Sky Striker Ace Rose, you can special summon this card from your hand. If an opponent's monster in the extra monster zone is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of your card effect, while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, then you can negate the effects of one face-up monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. Rival to Ray in both lore and her card effect, as Ray is special summoned from the grave, whereas Rose is special summoned from the hand.
Right.
Rose, too, was given a Sky Striker Ignition Sword and her very own Zero suit. However, her nation focused on absolute power above all else. Rather than a variety of Sky Striker mecha forms to deal with a variety of different situations, her Sky Striker mecha was the very embodiment of power.
You know what it kind of reminds me of, actually? It reminds me of... Is it Throne? It's Ali Al-Sachez, Gundam 00, Ali Al-Sachez's version of the combined Throne units. I'm trying to remember what it's called. I'm trying to actually find it here. Gundam 00, Ali Al-Sachez, Gundam. Yeah, Archie Gundam. Yeah, Zeke kind of reminds me of this a little bit. Little bit. You can kind of see it in some of the bulk that it has, especially here, some of the bulk around the legs.
Sky Striker Ace Zeke requires 2 monsters, including a Sky Striker Ace monster. Must be link summoned. If this card is link summoned, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field. Banish it until your opponent's next end phase. Once per turn, you can target 1 other card you control. This card gains 1000 attack. Then send the targeted card to the graveyard. Serial number Z000, you can see Rose at its center piloting the device. This mech is based on the Mitsubishi A6M Japanese fighter aircraft.
Why do I hear the dial-up noise? Why do I hear Electronic Satan screaming in my ear? Was not expecting that this video.
This aircraft garnered the name of Type 0 Fighter. And where can we see a reference to that? Oh, in its serial number. And by the fact that its pilot, if you rearrange its name, also spells 0. But why was it called 0? Well, it was referring to the year of the Emperor's reign when production of the Zero fighters began. And also, they were known by a code name, Zeke, this monster's name. Strategic Striker Hamp.
I have never seen this. What?
This card is always treated as a Sky Striker card. If you control a Sky Striker Ace monster, you can special summon this card from your hand to either field by attributing 1 monster on that field. You can only special summon Strategic Fighter Hamp once per turn this way. When this card is destroyed by battle, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. This effect,
yeah, it's got a kaiju-ism to it. That's kind of cool. I've never seen a Sky Striker deck run it, though.
Could allude to, in further lore, Rose and Ray could team up against this united enemy. This monster's name comes from the Mitsubishi A6M3 Zero fighter, codenamed Hamp. which was another Japanese airfighter. Sky Striker Ace Airspace, the field spell of the deck. You can target one of a card you control, excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add 1 excavated Sky Striker card to your hand. Also, shuffle the rest back into the deck. Then, if you excavated a Sky Striker card, send the targeted card to the graveyard. If this card in the field zone is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon 1 Sky Striker Ace monster from your deck. This is showing Rei in her Sky Striker Ace Kagari form after she had left the Sky Striker Mecha Armory Hercules base, now heading into enemy territory. Speaking of, actually,
it's so weird. So a list I had seen recently, it's like you run... The field spell is always a 1 or a 2 of, and one of the builds I had seen recently, they were running like 1 Area 0 and 1 Chicken Game. You have to understand, like, Sky Striker goes from this, like, really consistent, it's got a consistent theme, to, like, shitpost tier really quick. Do you know what I ran when I was, so this was about, what was this, probably Thunder Dragon format, like, Inspector Border, I think was still pretty new. Do you know, I ran, like, 1 Area 0, 3 Mystic Mine, okay? I was an absolute degenerate with this deck. It was so funny. I took a game, I kid you not, by running Inspector Border, Mystic Mine, and I got like tied for 3rd place. It was disgusting. Okay, mine. I'm an advocate for loving mine. Okay, card needs to be banned. Okay, for the health of the game, for the good of the game. Okay, I'm the kind of person that would play Magic the Gathering and play Shahrazad at 4. Okay, I want a sub game inside of a sub game inside of a sub game. We're doing this in 40 minutes.
Striker Mecha Armory Hercules base. The equipped monster cannot attack directly. It can make a second attack on monsters during each battle phase. If the equipped monster destroys a monster by its attack while you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, draw 1 card. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target up to 3 Sky Striker cards in your graveyard, shuffle them back into the deck. This device's serial number is S130. This is actually a reference to the C130 Hercules cargo plane.
That's
essentially,
so
they both serve the same purpose. Finally, Sky Striker Mecha Modules Multiroll. Once per turn.
Multiroll is also one of those cards that gets hit in certain formats. Isn't it? I think it's at 3 in the TCG. Isn't it like at 2 in either the OCG or Master Duel? This is one of the pieces of the engine that gets hit a little bit.
And you can target one of a card you control, send that card to the graveyard. Also, your opponent can activate cards or effects in response to your spell card activation for the rest of this turn. Yeah. Once per turn, during the end phase, you can set Sky Striker spells with different names from your graveyard up to the number of Sky Striker spell cards you activated this turn, while this card was face up on your field. But banish them when they leave the field.
You really don't ever need 3. I mean, there could be an argument for 3. The magic number that I've seen is 2.
This card is depicting the gates that Rei can pass through to become one of her Sky Striker forms. And with that, that's the Sky Striker archetype done. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Before we go, there's some shout-outs we need to do. Jonathan Young, shout out to you. Thank you for giving that little bit extra as well. All the names you see below, thank you very much for supporting this channel. You're all awesome. Thank you. And that's everything. Bye, everyone.
I liked it. Sky Striker is a great archetype. If you've never played it, you're in for a treat. Since then, we've had some new support come out. Some new support that I've actually gotten. One, we have Sky Striker Ace, Azela, not Azela, from Monstrous Revenge. 2 light and or dark monsters, so you could do a Ray and a Rose, right? You could, you probably are making this the main. Must be linked summon. You can only special summon Sky Striker Ace. You only special summon Sky Striker Ace Azela's once per turn. If this card is special summon, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it. Okay, sure. Then, in sequence, if you have 3 or less spells in your graveyard, send this card to the graveyard, so you want 3 or more. Incentive, right? Once per turn at the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, banish 1 spell in your graveyard, destroy the opponent's monster. So kind of like Baby Granmole a little bit. Okay, as I'll say, I've got mine for 15. Did this thing actually just jump? Okay, no, it's still 15. Like, it jumped overnight, if so. Which then leads into Sky Striker Ace, Azela Temperance. Not seeing so much play. 2+ link monster, including the link monster, is a link 3. Must first be link summoned to this card. As special summon, you can banish 1 spell card from your hand or graveyard. Target 1 monster your opponent controls with 2,500 or less attack. Equip that face-up monster to this card as an equip spell. You're just going to relinquish them, yoink them over. Destiny Hero Plasma effect. Now you can use the effect. You can use the effect of a Sky Striker Ace, Azela Temperance once per turn. When this card is destroyed by battle, you can special summon 1 other Sky Striker monster from your hand or your graveyard, which, to be fair, you have to use You can only use this effect by it being destroyed by battle. Removal by any other means linking it away, you will not get that effect. So probably why it's not used, but there's some more support. I'm pretty sure there's even more support out there as well. But it's really interesting to just see how the deck has evolved from when it first came out up to linkage, up to other. It's very interesting. I like it. I enjoy it. It's a very fun deck, very snappy. It's got some combos. It's got some potential, especially with things like Widow Anchor, Engage at 3, multi-roll, right? So if you haven't checked out TGI, sorry, not TGI. Wow, I don't know. I'm thinking about food. I almost said TGI Friday. I'm so sorry. TGS Anime. If you have not checked them out, you should definitely go ahead and check them out. They put a lot of really cool content. I actually didn't know the Sky Striker lore behind this, and it was really interesting to see that and have it kind of explained to me, as well as potentially where the archetype could go, as well as some of the inspiration behind it. In the description down below, you will see the link to the original channel, as well as the original video. Definitely encourage you to check those out. Thank you all for watching. I do definitely appreciate that. Let me know your strangest tech and Sky Strikers. See you in the next one.